Please, in third place, step forward, competitor 308, Nick Jones.
When I got back to Sydney after the Arnold Classic with the disappointment of my third place, I thought about it. I thought about my future with bodybuilding. Would I compete again? I was pretty disappointed. My wife Angela is so supportive, and she didn't want me to finish on that note of being disappointed and potentially being bitter about the sport that I love. What I could do about my disappointment was something very nostalgic. And certainly now, looking back, and hindsight's a beautiful thing, I'm not upset, I'm not bitter, I'm not angry about not winning the Arnold Classic and getting a pro card at all, not in the slightest. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful, and I feel like I was blessed once again to actually place third there. I don't think that path is for me. I don't think the Pro League path is for me in the classic physique. I don't. I did the nostalgic thing, and my family were very much on board, and as hard as it was, I followed on after the Arnold Classic and did the IFBB Elite Australasian titles and the Omara Classic in WA, where there was a significant amount of prize money. So they were the two shows I had my sights set on. Those are the two shows that I won 10 years ago. So at 47 years of age, as a company owner with 3 children, could I come back after 10 years and reclaim my title of under 80 kilogram Mr. Australasia? Could I reclaim my title of the overall champion at the Omara Classic in Perth? That would be something pretty special if I could pull that off. That would be something very nostalgic, very special if I could pull that off. So here came the next challenge. Tremendous challenge, nostalgic challenge, but a challenge that would put me back on the bodybuilding stage, because the IFBB Elite, their weight cutoff for classic physique is quite a lot lighter. I was going to have to be 76 kilo, and I'd struggled to make 82.5 with the Pro League. There was no way I was going to do classic physique or classic bodybuilding at the IFBB Elite show. So I set my sights on the under 80s.
No one can touch me now. I'm just flying by. Yeah, I'm just flying by away from them, and no one can see me now.
It's been a pretty busy 5 years on the contest front, so physically and mentally I can feel that everything's a little tired, and I need to rest and recover and enjoy life a bit, recharge the batteries. 2019, my first comp was 1994, so it's been 25 years of competing for me. You know, not that I've competed every year, I've had some lengthy breaks in between here and there, but I certainly have ticked all the boxes I ever dreamed of personally achieving. You know, so if there was nothing else that surfaced in relation to bodybuilding for me, I don't have any regrets. You know, the choices you make, the paths you follow in life, shape who you are. This is who I am, and what I've done is what I've done. So very happy with it, very satisfied with it, I don't have any regrets. So I could walk away tomorrow and still be happy. If something was to present again that was too good to pass up, I'd definitely throw my hat in the ring and have a go. That's the sort of person I am. But at this point in time, no plans. Feels good to be normal, and certainly for the rest of the year, get back into enjoying training. Plenty of food, and enjoy a lot of things in life that I've put on hold for a long time because of all the comps. I think every now and again I still reflect back on just the enormity of what's occurred in the last month, with the show in New Zealand and then the Arnolds. That I never, had any dreams or goals of stepping on pro stages like that. With my bodybuilding, I've always put the best version of myself that I possibly could on stage anytime I stepped on stage. So to do that at those pro shows, it was very exciting, and I just enjoyed all aspects of it. The Arnold weekend itself for me was There was a lot of satisfaction involved with that, and what I put on stage, like I said, arguably the best I've ever done. I was really happy with it. I don't think I could have done anything more. The only thing I did notice with the prep for the Arnolds, and I made a comment to Nick and certainly with Amy, I reckon it was the driest I've ever been. So as the carbs were going in, I was getting drier and drier and drier, and I'm not sure what was responsible for that. But certainly every morning that I got up, and even contest day when I got up, you know, what I saw in the mirror, I was ecstatic with. I couldn't wait to get up there. You know, I just couldn't wait to get on stage. You know, the physique was exactly what I wanted. I wanted to get up there and show it off. Yeah, a big part of this, the enjoyment and the excitement for me leading to the Arnolds was doing it with Nick, and you know, being part of his transformation, and you know, getting to train together and bouncing ideas off each other, and you know, and assessing each other's physique. And you know, we've known each other a long time, so that was a big part of the excitement and enjoyment for me. So you know, that was cool to do that, and you know, both times when he got on stage, you know, in New South Wales and over at the Arnolds, you know, that was a thrill in itself for me. So I was glad that I was certainly there to share that and be a part of it. The last couple of years, really, you know, the bodybuilding has been very enjoyable. It's a tough gig, you know, pushing yourself to your physical and mental limits, you know, and it's a voluntary thing. You choose to do it, and it's always tough. And you know, the condition that I pride myself on, you know, there's a lot of suffering involved that gets that. I don't think there's a lot of people that understands how hard that is to achieve. And doing it year in, year out is tough, but you know, one of the things I've enjoyed in the last couple of years, I've just got a fantastic team around me, you know, so, you know, Nick's been fantastic, you know, you know, words can't describe how good Amy has been for me. All the you know, the Gen Tech supplements, you know, that I have access to, you know, Carlo with the meals at Food for Fitness, you know, it's what we do is tough. But certainly with the supplements and the food, there is an element of enjoyment there. And it's one of the things Nick and I spoke about. It never used to be that enjoyable. You know, the food was always bland. You weren't really looking forward to eating it. The supplements tasted like shit, you know, certainly back in the old days. But these days, you know, everything, there was an element of enjoyment. You know, you look forward to things. You look forward to meals. You look forward to the supplements because they tasted good. And the results that you got from them was good as well. So, there was a lot more enjoyment about everything, certainly in the last couple of years, even though it was still tough. But being able to share it with those people, and in particular seeing Nick up on stage, it was fantastic. It was great. It really was good.
Yeah, I saw a global catch.
We're backstage here at the 2019 IFBB Elite Australasian Championships at Cronulla Sharks. Just registered. I'm about to go upstairs and get my tan. It's different these days. You come to contest. We used to be messing around with Dream Tan, and before that was contest colour many years ago. But now you turn up and there's ladies that do the spray tanning backstage and put the top coat and the sheen, and it all gets done for you. And the good thing about that, it makes it very easy and consistent for the judges to judge competitors because they're all using the same tan. So I completely get it. And it makes life easy for me, certainly, because I didn't get home till about 10:30 p.m. last night from Canberra. The last thing I wanted to do was paint coats of tan until midnight, so I was able to get some sleep, had my steak and rice and eggies for brekkie, just had some chicken and rice and eggies, full eggs, whole eggs. They were delicious, and just had my peanut butter honey rice cakes, just 3 of them. So just getting very small meals in to maintain my conditioning. I'm very happy with my conditioning this morning. Skin's tight. I could be a little fuller, but you know, I only had 2 days to carb load instead of my normal 3. So I'll just keep getting the small meals in. I'll drink plenty of P2P, plenty of carbs and aminos and glycerol before going on stage as well. So, you know, you don't want to eat too much carbs on the day to blow your belly out. However, you want enough glycogen to keep the muscles full enough, and sip on just enough water to work with that glycogen, to work with the carbs, and again, keep the muscles full enough. So probably hour and a half to 2 hours before going on stage in the under 80 kilo bodybuilding. And I can't do classic physique here because at my height, the IFBB Elite deems it my weight category to be 74. So I killed myself nearly to get to under 80. That was a hard enough task as it was. So under 80s bodybuilding, bodybuilding. This is a title I won 10 years ago. I'm back to reclaim my title at 47 years of age. I'm starting to get excited because I haven't been. I've been so busy and wrung out. I'm really starting to get excited about this Australasian, and I want to win this title back. It's been 10 years. That's what I want. But to just get on stage in a great lineup and be judged well is really what I want. So we'll see you guys on stage soon. It was something very special to come back 10 years later and reclaim the Mr. Australasia title at the IFBB. And the great thing about that was, again, like any other competitor, I was an equal. The judges again, I look at the judges, I look at everything when I'm on stage. I didn't know half the judges because there were teams there from Samoa, Western Samoa, so we had judges from there, from Tahiti as well. There were some international judges that didn't speak English, and that made up almost half the panel, which was great. So they didn't know Nick Jones, Gentech, 10-year comeback, I'd won 10 years before, supplement company owner. They didn't know all of this, which is great because I don't want to be judged for my history. I don't want to be judged for any status that I may or may not have. I don't want to be judged for my personality or lack thereof. I want to be judged for my physique. I want to be judged for the hard work I've done. I want those judges to chop off my head, throw my personality in the bin, my history in the bin, look at my physique and judge my physique. On stage, you get no feedback from those judges. They wear the poker face. And I gotta say, I loved it. I absolutely loved that. I stood in a lineup of 8 quality guys in the under 80s. It's a great lineup. With no disrespect to the Arnold Classic, it was a more international show, the Australasian, than the Arnold Classic was. And the competitors were a much, much better standard in the under 80s bodybuilding. And I tell you, it was great to be doing lat spreads and side triceps and most musculars again. So I felt very good about every aspect.
It's good though, yeah, it's good.
Nice, look good.
Back to my roots, thanks man.
Good, man. Thanks, man.
And then there were 2. Ladies and gentlemen, any suggestions for the judges?
18! Let's go, Nick! 18!
Go, Daddy!
Okay, I'm going to put everybody out of their misery right now. Silver medal today goes to Jimmy Tyrus.
Yeah, Nick!
Which of course means our champion under 80 kilo athlete, Nick Jones, ladies and gentlemen.
This was the best win out of all of them because it was something very special to come back 10 years later and reclaim the Mr. Australasia title at the IFBB. And the best part of the Australasian, apart from winning it, was my little boy was there. He came on stage, little Xander at 2.5 years of age. He was there, my girls were there making just as much noise as they did at the Pro League New South Wales. My wife was there, my mother and father-in-law were there. My father-in-law's never been to a bodybuilding contest and he's Greek. So, you know, I didn't need to tell him that the Greeks invented bodybuilding, right? I didn't need to tell him that, God bless him. But Arthur, I'm very close and he's very dear to me as my father-in-law. He's the next closest thing to a father I've had and he cares for me like a father would. So to have him there was fantastic. To have my mother-in-law there was fantastic, along with all my children and my wife was brilliant.
Well, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't emotional because it's been 10 years since I've been on this stage. 10 years ago I won this title, the Australasian bodybuilding under 80s. 10 years ago, back when I was 37, when I didn't have any children and my business wasn't as demanding as it is now. I don't think we weren't even living in Sydney, Angela and I. We were living in Queensland at the time. So 10 years down the track to come back and reclaim the Australasian under 80 bodybuilding title is it's very nostalgic for me. It's very emotional for me, particularly for the fact that my family came on stage. Had my little baby boy and my 2 girls and my wife. And Paul Graham, I think, was happier than me, you know. So I think everyone loves a good comeback story. I certainly do. I always love a good comeback story. But to do it myself is extra special. So I'm over the moon, as you can tell, about reclaiming the Australasian title. At 47 years of age, after dieting for 21 weeks, it's been a long prep. So I got one more show next weekend in Perth, the Omara Invitational, the Omara Classic. It's a Pro-Am, so there's some prize money, and Mike puts on a great show. And that was my final show 10 years ago, which I won that as well. I won the Australasian, and then I went and won that. So I guess I'll be aiming to do the same thing. So I'm going to go for a beautiful big meal with my family. I'm going to have some salmon, cooked medium rare, sweet potato chips, a couple of big salads, different salads, and a burger, and some yogurt berry, frozen yogurt. So I'm going to have one junk meal now and knuckle down then for next weekend's show. My body's so depleted, I can do with the food. It's not gonna hurt me. It'll probably make me look better, to be honest. So I'm gonna go celebrate with my family, guys. So thanks for being a part of the journey. I really appreciate it. This is the last time you'll see me on stage in front of this camera, you know, because I'll be in Perth next weekend. But it's been a great ride. It's been a great journey. And you know what they say, it's not about the destination, it's always about the journey. I've loved the journey, it's been challenging. And the hindsight, I can look back, and the hindsight is a beautiful thing, because the times that were really difficult just seem absolutely worth it now, to be judged by my peers as winning the under 80 in the Australasian Championships with Samoa here and Tahiti. It's a pretty special feeling.
The judges then awarded me, there was no overall unfortunately, and there wasn't 10 years ago either, and there often never is at the IFBB Elite shows. There's often not overalls. However, I was judged as being the best male competitor on the day and awarded my pro card, or an offer of my pro card. Paul Graham, Carol Graham, the promoters for some 40 years here in Australia, had nothing to do with the decision. I know there's probably some people that think that they'd rolled out the red carpet for Nick Jones and I'd be good for their federation, and couldn't be anything further from the truth. They didn't have a say in who was awarded the pro card. And again, the judges, half of which I didn't even know, and they did not know me. Those judges didn't know me. I saw them backstage with their teams and said good morning, and they didn't even really talk to me. So it was those judges that made an objective decision that I was the best bodybuilder on that day at the Mr. Australasia, the IFBB Elite, and deserved my pro card.
Oh well, the other mob didn't want me.
Oh well, he's a pro now.
What just happened now?
I just got a pro card. I got an elite pro card. So if I want, I can take the pro card and I can compete for money. But the amateur shows here with IFBB Elite have almost just as much money as the pros. So I'm going to have to research whether or not to take this pro card. But I kind of think that I will. But we'll just see. We'll see. You know, the family have got to be on board with any plans or goals that I may have, which I don't have at the moment. All my plans and goals are just spending time with the family after Perth next weekend.
I'd committed, of course, to doing the Omara Classic. I'd committed to Mike Omara. I'd booked airfares and accommodation for myself and my whole family. I was committed to doing that show and to finishing the journey, the fairy tale journey, the 10-year comeback, with trying to snag the final title that I'd snagged 10 years prior. And again, it would be pretty special if I could. The Omara Classic, great show, went to Perth. 3 days before the contest, thank goodness, I went on Thursday for a Sunday competition. Thank goodness I did that. It's a 5-hour flight. We live in a big country here in Australia, so 5 hours from Sydney to Perth, it's a long way. The day after I got to Perth, I did eat carbs on the plane. I broke my own rule. I didn't deplete after the Australasian. It was only a week apart. My body was so depleted at the Australasian contest that I could not face going through another carb deplete and carb load. couldn't face it, to be honest. To be brutally honest, I couldn't face it. But the other reason is I don't think I could have filled back out had I depleted even further. So I kept my carbs moderate for the week, ate carbs on the plane. The day after I got to Perth, the Friday, I was holding more water than I'd ever seen myself hold from a competition. So here was another hurdle. It was another huge hurdle for me because I know that you'll hold water the day after arriving from a flight, but I've never held water like that. The skin fold on my abs was probably close to 1 inch. I had no lines in my calves, no lines in my glutes, no striations in my quads. Like I said, the skin on my abs was extraordinarily thick, and I really started to worry because it was my 4th contest. I'd never done 4 contests back to back. 3 was my maximum that I'd ever done back to back. I'd never done 4, so I was unsure whether it was just my body not wanting to get in shape again for the 4th time and lose the water. Was it that? Was it the fact that it was a 5-hour flight, that I ate carbs on the flight? Was it the rebound from the competition the week before? I think it was all of those things. So I had to manipulate my protocols with my water and so forth to eliminate the water retention, eliminate the fluid, and try and bring my best package because I knew it was going to be a tough contest. And I also knew how special it would be if I could pull it off after 10 years and win that show. So sure enough, I weighed in the day before the show with everyone else at 84 kilograms, right on the dot, 84 kilos. And I was doing the under 85 category. I was able to win my class. It was only 3 or 4 of us in the category, but good physiques, really, really good physiques the guys had from Colombia and Samoa, I think, or Indonesia. Beautiful physiques, actually. But I got the win there, went for the overall and got the overall. So it was a great feeling. Again, I had Angela there, my beautiful wife, supportive wife. I had my girls there. My little boy didn't come to that one. I had Joel Ramintis, my little Filipino brother Joel, came over to support. So he was with me for a couple of days before, where we trained there at Doherty's gym and prepared meals and did a bit of cardio, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great venue. Again, there was a lot of international judges, and the thing I like about the IFBB Elite judging is, number 1, they're qualified, but number 2, they take into account all aspects of bodybuilding. Because bodybuilding to me, whether you want to call it classic bodybuilding, I don't really care, but I grew up with my bodybuilding years with, looking at Lee Haney and Rich Gaspari and listening to Lee Labrada, listening to Sean Ray, and understanding that bodybuilding and bodybuilding competition was the pursuit of the most perfect body. The most perfect, not the biggest, not the freakiest, not just the most shredded. It was about the most complete. It was about the bodybuilder, or the man with the least amount of weaknesses. The man with the most beautiful body, the closest body to being perfect, was always going to be the winner of a bodybuilding competition. So for that to be the case, the judges need to take in all parts of criteria of bodybuilding judging. That is shape, that is symmetry, that is proportion, that is size, yes, that is condition, and presentation. Bodybuilding is easier in some aspects than it's ever been. However, the mind game is still there. The complete obsession when I'm in the gym and training is something that came back to me very quickly. Surprisingly, I didn't know that I had that in me still, but that obsession during training is there. Was there, is there. It's there. I think it will always be with me. And I'm glad, because I was able to achieve a great result in my transformation over the 22 weeks preparation. Been a tremendous journey. Thank you to anyone that's followed the journey. Thank you to anyone for their kind words. Thank you to anyone that's talked not so kind words as well. Thank you for your interest. Hopefully it's given you something on some level to take home, whether it's inspired you to live a healthier lifestyle, to get into the gym, to train a little bit harder, to be a bit more consistent with your training and nutrition. If it has, great, If it's shown you that dreams can come true, great, because this was a bit of a pipe dream 22 weeks ago, to be able to sit here and say, after 10 years, I reclaimed my Australasian title in front of my 3 children and my in-laws and my wife. I reclaimed the Australasia. I reclaimed that title after 10 years. That was special in front of my family. And to go to the Arnold Classic and win the overall, pick up some prize money and a beautiful trophy and you know, a big check and medallions and be able to treat my family to a holiday in Perth. Very special. So anyone that's followed the journey, you've been a part of it. I feel it. I can feel that. I am very grateful and blessed. I'm so thankful to my wife, Angela, for her support, to my children for their support, to my staff at Gentech for their support and covering for me when I've not been at my best business-wise. I'm so thankful to my parents-in-law for helping out with my children and supporting with my show. I've reconnected with my brother, which is very special after many years, through the bodybuilding, through bumping into a mutual friend. So that's special. Thanks to my mum for staying in touch. She's always a fan of my bodybuilding. Big thank you to my team at Gentech. So the guys and girls on the team, Justin Wessels, Joel Ramintis, Ben Wortley, Justin Figuera, my team inspire me. I have to come in that sort of condition because that is the bar that we all have, and I'm not allowed to come in out of condition. I'm simply not allowed to. And that's one of the reasons why. So I'm so grateful and thankful for the people around me. Jeff Jowett for his support, the guys at City Gym, Billy Kokonis and Andy, thank you for your support, guys. I love City Gym. It's my home away from home. It's a very special gym. If you're in Sydney, come to City Gym. Food for Fitness, Carlo and the team for your support with the meals and for your interest and support at the competitions as well. They're really into it. They're really into the bodybuilding. So thank you to those guys for their support as well. Anyone I've missed, I'm sorry, but it's been a wonderful journey. Thank you to everyone that's been there, that's supported. Thank you to anyone else that hasn't supported so much, but been a part of the journey regardless. And whatever the future holds with competition, I'm not sure at the moment, but I will make that decision in the next month or so, whether it's take the pro card with the IFBB Elite or possibly stay as an amateur and do that World Championships. But I reckon as a 47-year-old man approaching 50, I've at least got one more in me. I've got one more. I've got some weaknesses to bring up and I know what they are and I know I can do it. And that excites me to push on with my bodybuilding. But I'll also do my Arakan martial art whilst I'm improving my weaknesses and getting on stage in maybe 12, 18 months. I'm not sure, but it's a family decision. They'll be on board. And I hope to have you all on board supporting just as much at the next competition as you have for this journey. So thank you again for watching Inspired, the documentary, and being part of the journey. And until next time, everybody be well, keep training hard, and just simply strive to do your best. God bless you all.